So this is going to be a little bit of a different video than I usually do. Kind of like, I guess, a live reaction video somewhat, because we just got the announcement that Simon Kinberg is in talks to reduce Star Trek movie franchise for Paramount. And the reason why I thought this would be kind of a fun thing to talk about is because, based off of what I've seen on Twitter, this seems like this film is going to be sort of a reboot of Star Trek First Contact. So originally we thought maybe this prequel film was going to be set in the Prime universe, and then we kind of found out that it's not. It's going to actually be a prequel to the J.J. Abrams reboot trilogy from 2009 to 2016, with Star Trek 2009, Star Trek Into Darkness, Star Trek Beyond. And that the idea that this is a First Contact sort of reboot is it's wild, and I don't think wild in a good way. So I haven't read this article at all yet. I just heard it was Simon Kinberg, somebody who's known for producing the X-Men films, and he wrote and directed Dark Phoenix, which your mileage on that film will vary. But I kind of just want to maybe talk about this article and see what's in it, because this is wild. Like, I wonder if we're going to get excited about this. But longtime X-Men producer Simon Kinberg is beaming up to a new franchise. The multi-hyphenate is in talks to produce a new Star Trek feature for Paramount Pictures. The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed if all goes well, the door would open to him taking active creative roles on the rest of the storied franchise's film side. Alex Kurtzman and Akiva Goldsman are the main creative producers on Star Trek's television side. The project Kinberg would step into is already in very active development. Toby Haynes, who directed episodes of the... I noticed there's a few typos in this, because one of the quotes I've seen on Twitter is that it says the Starfleet, and obviously it's not called the Starfleet, but who directed episodes of the Star Wars series and/or is on board to direct the new feature, with Seth Grahame-Smith writing the script. The project is said to be set decades before the events of the 2009 movie that was directed by J.J. Abrams, likely around modern times. That's interesting. So that already is sort of a retcon or change to what is established in the Prime Star Trek universe, where we don't get First Contact, we don't get World War III or any of that until around... World War III is supposedly from like the 2030s until the 2050s, maybe early 2060s. They kind of are never exactly clear on when exactly World War III is. But First Contact is 2063. So that's very different than modern times. And likely around modern times, sure, could mean they're stretching it to the 2050s or 2060s. But reading off of this, like where it says, it is said to involve the creation of the Starfleet and humankind's first contact with alien life. It sounds to me like this is a reboot of First Contact, and they might be changing the timeline to match up with that. Which is weird, because in Star Trek 2009, it's sort of established that the reason why the new universe is sort of creative, or the new franchise is sort of creative, is because Nero goes back in time and destroys the Kelvin, which sort of changes things. But there's already a few tiny little retcons here or there, like the visual style is very different. So it could be sort of maybe said that it's actually that before that things were already very different in the J.J. Abrams universe. I'm sorry, I'm probably going to be all over the place with this video, like in terms of if I'm talking. I don't really do normally live reaction sort of to news videos like this, but it's that there immediately makes me worried for what this is going to be. This feels to me like this is their version of updating Star Trek lore for a new audience and changing things quite a bit, which I'm not too sure about that. Now after this, it says Abrams remains involved with the new project as a producer, which, again, I don't know about that. Like, Abrams, he can make good stuff, but as a producer, he takes his time with things getting made, so we'll see. There is no release date for the feature, but the studio has signaled that it would like a 2025 opening. The machinations of the franchise take place against the backdrop of a potential sale of Paramount, which could find itself under the ownership of Sony or Skydance. There hasn't been a Star Trek movie since Star Trek Beyond, which was released in 2016. It's going to kind of blaze through this. Sounds like this is going to be recapping things we already know. Yeah, Trek primarily, small screen, Star Trek Discovery, Picard, Stranger Worlds, efforts to relaunch film side. We know about all that they're still developing a fourth film. Kinberg rose prominence, just kind of about Kinberg, who he is and what he's produced. And Puck was the first to report on Kinberg being in negotiating to reboot the Star Trek movie franchise. Yeah, so that's a bit wild. I'm not totally sure on that, not totally keen on that. Not because I'm against sort of reboots, but we've already had a Star Trek reboot. A lot of people have been clamoring for Star Trek to move past the reboot stuff. Like, Strange New Worlds is a popular show, but a lot of people have been asking for us to kind of move forward. I think it's a big reason why among the fans, Star Trek Picard spin-off, which would have been Star Trek Legacy, gains a lot of traction, because it would be set in the 25th century, typically an era that has not been explored a whole lot in Star Trek really at all yet. So I think that that's why people are sort of looking to the future. And I know Star Trek Discovery, now being set in the 32nd century, has come under fire from Star Trek fans for how much their 32nd century storylines connect back to older Star Trek storylines, that they kind of are hoping for new things, new species, new storylines, stuff like that. And I think that this sort of goes against that in a lot of ways. First Contact is a great film. It's still one of the greatest Star Trek films, and I don't think it's necessarily old enough to really warrant a reboot or something. Like 1996, that's not that old. It's a bit of an unusual decision there. We'll see. I mean, I'll hold out because I want to see a new Star Trek film on the big screen, a theatrically released one. We have the Paramount Plus films are going to be launching. We have the fourth film, and this is likely coming out a long time before the fourth film, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm not too sure about this. I think it's a risky move kind of to go before, because if we're seeing the creations of Starfleet on its own, I'm not opposed to that, because Enterprise did not show us the beginnings of Starfleet. Enterprise showed us the beginnings of the United Federation of Planets, but Starfleet was already active for decades before Star Trek Enterprise started. If they were just doing an Origins of Starfleet film, that sounds really exciting. I would like to see that. I would like to see what they would do there. But a film that is showing the creation of Starfleet and First Contact is a little unusual, because they're clearly going to change things. Like, we're probably going to get Zefram Cochrane, probably somebody new cast that, but I doubt we're going to get kind of anything to do with the Enterprise E in there. We're not going to get any of that sort of stuff. They're probably going to change a lot of things. They're going to keep the Vulcan aspect the same, I would imagine, but like whether characters like Lily Sloan or that's involved, that's a whole other thing. Like, they'd likely keep Zefram Cochrane because he's a big name, but I think a lot of other things they might change up and change it to match the new stuff. I mean, look, I'm excited to see what it would look like. It could be really cool. It could end up being one of the best Star Trek films we've ever seen, but I don't know. We'll see. Just initial reaction is, I don't love this idea really at all. But again, I'll keep off until we see what we're going with that. But yeah, this is definitely a different kind of video. Sorry, it's kind of all over the place. Not a whole lot to say. It might do a more in-depth, fleshed out video on this. But what do you think about this idea of sort of getting a Star Trek First Contact reboot, which is a bit of a shock? I remember when we were originally talking about what this prequel film might be, that was one of the options. It would be like World War III, maybe leading up to First Contact. But again, this doesn't sound like it's World War III. It sounds like it's starting probably with First Contact and exploring after that. So we'll see with that. I don't like how they're calling it sort of connected to modern times as well. That sounds to me like it might feel like a very generic sci-fi film with Star Trek names on top of it. Like, you've got a generic sci-fi film that just happens to include Zefram Cochrane and the Vulcans and a reference to Starfleet at the end of the film. Like, that doesn't sound too exciting to me. But if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, all of that sort of stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.